Welcome to Seaway Whiskey Wire. Tonight on the bar, we've got the Glenfarclas 12-year-old Single Malt Scotch Whisky. Stay tuned. Welcome to Seaway Whiskey Wire. I'm Tyler, and tonight on the bar, like I said, we've got the Glenfarclas 12-year-old Single Malt Scotch Whisky. Glenfarclas is one of those scotches that I think doesn't get as much love around in the Scotch community, but I'm hoping to change that after the review tonight. So Glenfarclas Distillery, located in the Speyside region of Scotland, advertised on the bottle and the box as a Highland region, but resides right near the River Spey. It's owned by the Grant family. It's fifth generation, family owned and privately owned company, which differs from most distilleries in Scotland, as the shrinking population of those private distilleries is dissolving. But yeah, fifth generation, family owned it. They use 100% ex-Amoroso sherry casks for their finishing and maturing. And another cool thing about the Glenfarclas distillery is that they use direct fire stills in the distillation process. And what that means is most distilleries in Scotland use natural gas and steam to create heat underneath those stills. Glenfarclas chooses to use direct fire, so it's natural gas with direct fire coming up, and in order to keep the distillant from scorching and the mash from scorching, they actually have to have agitators inside the stills to keep the things moving, so there is no scorching. And what that kind of does is gives what I would call a Glenfarclas kind of funk to things. It's kind of like a burnt sugar, or like a burnt creme brulee, like the top part of that creme brulee. But we'll get into that in the tasting notes. Just a pretty different approach to things at Glenfarclas. They've been doing it for, like I said, 5 generations now, and yeah, it's a tasty treat. Getting to the specs in the bottle, comes in at 43% ABV, non-chill filtered, and no color added to this 12-year-old offering from Glenfarclas. Mainly they have a range of years to go by. Here in Ontario, I can only get the 12-year-old, the 15. I think it goes as high as 21, and then maybe I get the 25 if I'm lucky. We don't have access to all these family casks unless you want to pay big bucks. But the 12-year-old offering is very good in my opinion. Presentation-wise, bottle's nice the way it is. Very classic bottle. They haven't changed their bottle over the years. I actually have a book back here, and maybe I can pull a picture from the book and maybe put that in the video. But it's showing you how the bottle hasn't changed a lot over the years, nor is the label. The case that comes in is a nice blue Regal case. For some reason in Ontario, they put this stupid sticker on it here. I actually tried to remove it just to make it a little more presentable. I'm across the YouTube channels I've been watching and pictures I've seen, I don't see that sticker anywhere, so hopefully you don't have that funny little sticker on there. With respect to information on the bottle that we have here, that I've got on my bar, it really just has the information on the front and the back, and on the back in French. That was on the front, so not really much information there. You get on the back of the actual packaging itself, it just kind of explains a little bit more about the distillation process, mentions the direct fire and what have you, the 5 generations family, and yeah, it makes a nice presentation on the bar. Either way you display it, I personally use the nice Regal case for it. Yeah, we'll get into the pour and have a look at the liquid that's in the bottle here. Nice cork pop on it. Well, I'm already really getting a lot of those sherry notes just popping the cork on that one. So the first thing you're going to notice on this bottle, it's not your regular sherry color. You know, I reviewed the Aberlour 12-year-old a couple weeks ago there, and you can see it was a lot more of a kind of a rosewood, darker amber hue. This is kind of more of a straw color to it. Very golden, but more straw-like. It really doesn't have that really intense sherry color to it. Again, though, no color added, number one, and then number two, it's a lot of second fill sherry casks at the Glenfarclas distillery. Or at least I'm led to believe that by the color. We'll get into the nosing now and just kind of see. Like, I can tell you right now, it's basically oozing out the sherry notes at me as I talk right now. So before I explain I'm going to get better at this, I promise. Before I explain the nosing notes, if you have a Speyside or something from Glenfarclas and you want to pour and drink along, I encourage it. And it makes the experience a heck of a lot better for yourself on the other end. And I'm going to get better at trying to put that to the front of the videos. On the nose, yeah, you get the sherry notes right away. Very warm sherry notes. Those golden raisins. The sweet dates, the sweet like almost a cherry note. Maybe not so much a cherry note. No, it's very much the golden raisin notes. You get a lot of sweetness there too. There's some vanilla, some honey, burnt caramel. Like I said, those direct fires, that direct fire still, it adds this kind of characteristic of a burnt sugar, which, you know, I'm getting. And if you come in kind of at a length, out there, before I get my nose right deep in there, you get this nice subtle touch of butterscotch. It's there, it's faint, but it really kind of gets dissolved into the golden raisin notes if you get your nose right in there. So do yourself a little favor if you're tasting this, and just give it a little nose right about there. You'll get that butterscotch flavor. Yeah, we'll get into the tasting notes. Looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite whiskeys. Slàinte. Yeah, so right away, at 43%, it's a hefty dram. 43% doesn't seem like a hefty dram. This particular dram is. Coats in the mouth, and it's very, very heavy. You get very high impact of those sherry notes. Again, those golden raisins, some honey, nice spice, nutmeg, cinnamon spice, a little bit of vanilla, and then it goes a little bit deeper back, and you get those bitter notes. You get that little bit of what I would call that Glenfarclas funk. It's that burnt sugar, you know, brown sugar, you know, baking sugar, creme brulee notes, butterscotch, burnt caramel, and then it's a nice oaky finish at the end, and it goes on for a long time. And just, yeah, very, very, very complex, very good. I'm going to go in for another sip here. Much the same again. It could probably add a little bit of water to open up those complexity notes a little bit more. You might get a little bit longer on that honey, more of that brown sugar, burnt sugar, creme brulee note. The spice just goes on and on and on. It's a very, very nice note. It's all at the back. You get that nice sweet sherry note into that warm spice, and then that nice oak from the casks kind of comes in near the end, but the spice is still there. And again, it's if you like those Christmas spices, those baking spice flavors, the cinnamon, you're gonna like this whiskey. It's very complicated in the sense that, you know, it's got those phases that can change. On the third sip, even, I'm probably gonna get a little bit more of a transformation here, and I'll get into it here, and we'll see if I can explain it. But yeah, it's just it's sweet. You get that kind of burnt note from those direct fire stills, and then you get that spice note with the oak that I'm so fond of. Yeah, it just keeps going. And again, very nice and very, very good whiskey, and keeps you thinking. You know, again, burnt caramel, cinnamon, honey, golden raisins at the front, nutmeg, cinnamon, and now that oak, and it's completely warming on a cold winter's night. This is a great dram to have. For the finish, I'm gonna have one more little sip here and explain it, but I think I'm gonna be repeating myself a lot. But we'll see. Yeah, so I've kind of already explained. Finish is very long. It goes on, and it stays there. It'll stay with you. Once I leave and go back to what I'm doing tonight, this will be sitting with me while I'm watching the hockey game, reading my book, whatever I'm doing. It's going to stick around. It's a very pleasant note to stick around as well. It's that oak. It's that spice, that warming of the spices. Very mouth coating, very chewy. You get those oils. it's just, yeah, it's a very nice whiskey. It's complicated. It's complex enough to kind of keep you guessing, keep you thinking. It's just, yeah, at an entry level, it's a very, very good whiskey. It's got all the marks of it. I mean, the 43%, I would like it a little bit higher. If you want to go higher, you go to the 15-year-old from Glenfarclas. That's 46%. And it's funny because that's the only one in the whole range until you get into the special releases and the family cast. That's at 46%, is at 15. And they said it was because the grandfather liked it that way. You know, personally, I wish he would have liked the 12-year-old that way too, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. Yeah. Great whiskey all around. Here's where I'm going to have a problem, and that's getting into the value proposition. And this is kind of recently, so I'm just going to say it as bluntly as I can. When I purchased this bottle, and I've had this bottle for a couple months now, it's just about empty here now, and I was, you know, I would love to tell you to replace it because I want to replace mine. For some reason at the LCBO in Ontario, they took the price of this bottle from $76, $75, and they increased that. And, you know, subtle increases. I know the economy is where it is and everything, but this bottle now, if you were to buy this at the LCBO, is $107. You just let that sink in for a minute. $107. And you think about what you could buy with $107. You know, you could buy something like the Arbegui Beastie and have change to spare. You could have something like the Kilchoman Sineg at $109 and spend an extra $2 and get something a little more special. You could spend $90 and get your favorite Aberlour. It's a tough one for me. I see that if I go out of province, I can still get this for around $75. So I'm going to go and try and scour to get another bottle at that price point. But at $107 in the province, I can't recommend this. It hits every note. You know, if you want a great sherry whiskey, there's a lot of places you can go. And I thought at that price point of $75, this was where I was going to go. And sadly, the province has made that not. It's nothing to do with Glenfarclas. Glenfarclas, family-owned and operated business. They produce a lot of whiskeys, and, you know, they make it so they can have these whiskeys readily available. I'm not sure what's going on with the LCBO, why they believe that they can increase the price that high over that short period of time, and you know, no one noticed. But I'm putting them on notice that I did, and yeah. So unfortunately, great whiskey, great specs, great flavor, great complexity, long finish, chewy. I could go on and on and on, but for the price point, you got other things you could do with your money. And saddens me to say that, but at $107, it's going to be replaced by something else. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But hey, you know, let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Did I get all the notes right? Do you have a better recommendation for something that's more in line with that $70 to $80 range for a sherry whiskey that I can go after and restock on my bar? Do you agree with the LCBO raising prices like that? I know Canadians, we get really feisty about our alcohol prices, you know. But yeah, love to hear from you guys. If you like what we're doing at seawaywhiskywire, please like and subscribe down below. Love hearing from you guys. Love seeing you guys subscribe, watching my videos, watching the shorts. Yeah, we're gonna keep trying to bring them to you every week. I'm really enjoying this and becoming a YouTuber and doing the YouTube journey along with my whiskey journey. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you around, eh? Cheers.